Good afternoon, everyone. This will be my video lecture in CVN, no? Chameleon Values and Norms. Today is October 19. It's a Wednesday afternoon, and this Friday, this will be my announcement. No, this Friday, it will be your preliminary examination in two subjects, no, under me. The first one will be CVN, of course, and the second will be NSTP1, no? So both will be taken on the same day, which is this Friday, October 21, 2022, no? So you listen carefully. The preliminary examination in CVN would be from 10 o'clock in the morning until 12 noon time, and then the preliminary examination in NSTP1 will be from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Okay? I repeat, no, the preliminary examination in CVN would be from 10 o'clock in the morning until 12 noon time, and the preliminary examination in NSTP1 will be from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. Now, all answers, of course, will have to be written down in an examination booklet. No, there is a booklet that you have to purchase for, I don't know, 5 pesos, I think. It used to be 3 pesos, but now it's 5 pesos. All answers should be written down in that booklet. No, I do not want you to be using any yellow pad paper. It is only the booklet that you will use during the examination. Okay? And of course, you have to be on time because we have to start the examination on time also. No? Now, another thing would be the grammar part will be a part of your examination in CVN. No? So, I repeat, the grammar portion or the English grammar book that we are taking, no, we finished up to chapter 6. So that one will be included in the examination in CVN. Clear? And also for NSTP1, everything that we've taken up also in the Constitution and also in your module, which is Unit 1. No, by the way, your assignment again in NSTP1 will be Unit 2. Unit 2 or Chapter 2. So you also have to read Chapter 2 because that will also be given in the examination. I repeat, for NSTP1 preliminary examination, all the things that we've taken in the Constitution as well as in chapters 1 and 2 of your book. Okay, clear? So today, we continue our discussion in CVN. No? We are still in what we call deviance. No? Deviance, these are the terms that I'd like you to remember. Then social control. No? And of course, what we call sanctions. No? Sanctions. I have discussed this all these notions or concepts last time. The notion meaning the concept, no, notion. When I talk of the notion, it's a concept. Okay, clear? Now I talked about this last time as what is deviance. Of course, something that violates. It's a violation of social norms. No, as simple as that. Violation of social norms. No? And of course, for social control, these are the means or the ways by which you have to regulate the behavior of an individual. Now, the means or ways imposed by society to regulate human behavior. And when we talk of sanctions, we are talking about penalties, no, or punishments, as we call. So as simple as that. So these terms are of course important in the study of individual behavior. Okay? So, we are still here on deviance. Last time we talked about what causes, no? What causes deviance? How come that people violate social norms, no? How come that people or individuals violate social norms, no? Why do people violate social norms? And of course, I have advanced to you the different points of view. There is the biological point of view or perspective that we call, and then we have the psychological point of view. No, I do not want to belabor this point because I have discussed this last time. And of course, the sociological point of view. And we are here, we are after this, the sociological point of view. Now, of course, you have to know, no, the different points of view, no, the perspective of each one. How come that people violate social norms? Then you could advance the different points of view. But we are here in the sociological perspective of deviance. Now, there are 4 important theories, no, that say, no, 4 sociological theories on deviance. No, it is in your book, no, but it's just that I have to discuss it as part of course, for clarity, no, for purposes of our discussion. We go now to this one, the 4 sociological theories on this. The first one, okay, let us mention them one by one first. We call them this. We call it. The first one is the structural strain theory. Okay, the structural strain theory. The second is what we call. Okay, this is very famous now. This label, no, labeling theory. Okay. The third is what we call the social control or social band theory. No? Band theory. And the fourth is the DAT. No, the fourth is the differential association theory. No, that's the fourth. The fourth is what we call the differential association theory. Differential association theory. Let us take them one by one, no, for purposes of our discussion. So these are the 4 sociological theories on deviance. So let us take the first one, no, the first sociological theory. You will notice that what we are after is the sociological point of view, because that one, of course, is very important for purposes of looking at regulating behavior. No? Regulating the behavior, regulate meaning you have to control, no? Regulating the behavior of individuals, no? And how do you regulate again? Well, we regulate the behavior of individuals through the imposition of what we call social control. Social control. Remember that social control is the means or the ways by which a society will regulate or control the behavior of individuals. Now, let us take the first sociological theory on deviance. Okay? What is the first sociological theory on deviance again? Well, we call that the structural. Do you still remember that? If you have been reading your book, the structural strain theory. What is a strain? No, strain, of course, is something that paralyzes something. No, strain. No, strain. So structural. What comes to your mind when we talk of the structural? Well, we talk about, of course, say for instance, in a society, in a society, whatever society that is, there will of course be what? This society is composed of what we call, well, according to this theory, no? composed of culture, and the other one would be what we call the social structure. No? Social structure. Clear? And when we talk of culture, of course, these are goals in our society. No? It is society, or our cultural norms will dictate the goals that we have in our society. Whose goals is it? Of course, the people in society. Now, for social structure, this is also the means or instrumentality by which we can achieve these goals. And who will be setting this? Now, of course, usually it is the government. That is the social structure that we call. This is the means by which we could achieve our goals as a people, as a country, as a society, through, of course, our government that we have put. Now, if this one, if the social structure, what's the social structure again? Visualize, it is our government. That is the social structure, because this is the means, it is the instrumentality by which we could achieve our goals as a people, as a country. No? So here, in this setup, if the social structure or government is performing well, or providing what is needed to achieve the goals that we have, then there is no problem. There is what we call balance. No? There is what we call balance, so there is no problem. If the government in a society is performing well, or giving all the means and strategies by which we could achieve our goals, then there is balance, so there is no problem. The problem here, of course, if government is not performing well and we are not given enough means or strategies on how to achieve our goals, then that will result in what we call imbalance, correct? And here there is a problem. We have a problem, and this will cause what we call a strain. A strain is something that paralyzes. I told you, it's something that causes paralysis, no, in our society. So here, according to this theory, if the government is not performing well, then it will cause pressure to the people to commit deviance, no? To commit deviance or violation, no? To commit deviance or what we call violation. Did you get that? Example, we take this as an example. By the way, this structural strength theory was developed by Robert K. Merton, no? In the 1930s. No? This one developed by Robert Merton in the 1930s. No? Remember that, American psychologist by the name of Robert Merton. Now, I repeat, no? This theory would say that if the social structures, what is the social structures again? Or what are the social structures? Simply, we call this the government, no? If the government is not performing well to achieve society's goals, no? Here is culture. And culture would, of course, dictate what we call the goals in society. Say, for instance, the goals would be honesty, no? These are our goals: honesty, integrity. These are goals in our society, right? Transparency, for instance, no? These are goals in our society that we would like to have, no? No, this one, honesty, integrity, transparency. So we are very clear in our goal. There should be honesty in government. There is integrity in government. There is transparency in government. The problem here is that government does not possess this, no? supposing that the social structures, the government is corrupt. No? If the government is corrupt, then you can see the disparity. No? So there's a difference between this society's goals, and this is now the characteristic of the government that you have. So this creates what we call an imbalance. So something is wrong. No? Something is wrong that will make our people or our society unhappy. Because of this imbalance now, no, it is not aligned, no, because this government is characterized as being corrupt, then the culture would dictate these goals, no, there is no alignment at all, so there causes an imbalance. Because of this imbalance, according to this theory developed by Robert Merton, because of this imbalance, people would tend to commit, no, deviance, no. So they tend to commit violations because if a government is corrupt, of course, other officials would also be corrupt. And people, of course, would be very unhappy, so they would also do something in return. No? So this, according to this theory, is what creates deviance. No? Remember that the social structures is not performing well. It is not performing well to meet our goals, our society's goals. So this strain, no, this imbalance or this strain would cause people to commit deviance. Clear? So far? So remember that society is composed of social structures and culture. The culture that we have will dictate the kind of goals that we will have in our society. This one, for example. And of course, the social structure should provide the means to attain those goals. But the problem is the social structures are not helping us to attain our goals. So according to this theory, people would commit deviance, no, or violations. Okay? So what is the second? The second sociological theory on deviance is what we call labeling. No? Very common nowadays, no? You would put labels on your love life, no? So this one, remember the labeling theory, no? So you will say to your friend, ano bang label meron tayo? Bakit tayo palagi magkasama? So you put labels, no? Labeling theory. Of course, coming from the word label, no? This one is developed by Howard Becker, no? Howard Becker in 1963. No? He was the one who developed that. Now, what does this theory say? What does this sociological theory say? Well, it says that what? It says that criminals, no? Of course, criminals. Criminals, how do we create criminals according to this theory, no? This takes the view that criminals are labeled, no, as such, no, they are labeled as such, and because they are labeled as such, they accept the label as their, and they accept the label, no, label yung tag niya, no, yung ano niya, what we call that, yung pagtawag sa kanya. Criminals are labeled as such. You are labeled as a criminal, and these criminals accept the label and take that as their personal identity. Take that as their personal identity. Well, of course, example, if you always say to your friend, no, berdugo ka, adik ka, no, berdugo, adik, or say for instance, psychopathic, mga ganyan, no? These are labels, no? Psychopathic, or bad boy, or bad girl, no? Bad boy or bad girl. Because of these labels, remember that this theory talks about labeling. Because of these labels, according to this theory, there would come a time that individuals would take this as their own personal identity. In short, paninindigan na niya, no? Yung kanyang birtugo, pagka-addict niya, psychopathic, no, bad boy. So it is not good for you to be labeling people because that might create people to deviate or to commit deviance and become criminals in society. So do not ever put any label to anyone, no? No matter how bad that person is, because that might impel the person to what? To affirm his identity as being criminal. No? Clear? It is more of the labeling, no? So you have to be careful. Okay, the third sociological theory on deviance, no, is what we call the social control or social bond theory. No? Okay, we proceed with the social control. Well, social control or social bond, social control, or what we call the social bond theory. Social bond. This one was developed by Travis Hershey. No? Hershey in what year? In 1969. No? So this one was developed by this person, Travis Hershey. Hershey, rather. There is an S. Hershey. In 1969. So what does it say? Remember this word bond, no? Social control, they mean the same thing. No? Social bond or social control theory, they mean the same thing. So what does it say? No? Well, according to this theory, at some point in time in our lives, we feel that we have the propensity, no? We have the urge to commit a violation. This is according to this theory. We have the impulse or the urge at some point in our time, in our lifetime, according to this theory, all individuals would have that impulse or the urge to commit deviance. No? Would have at some point in our lifetime, according to this theory, we would think of being, we feel the need or we feel the impulse or the urge to commit deviant behavior or deviance or deviant behavior. So what is keeping us? What is keeping us not to commit deviance or deviant behavior? Well, these are the things according to this theory by Travis Hershey, no? So, what is keeping us not to commit any deviance or deviant behavior are the following social bonds, no? Our social bonds, no? The first is what we call attachment to other individuals, no? Attachment to other individuals. And usually, these other individuals would be what? Our family, our friends, no? Our colleagues in office, no? So they can help also, no? For us not to violate any norm, no? Because we are attached to them, we are afraid or we might be ashamed to them that if we violate a certain social norm, then they would also feel ashamed of what you do, no? Attachment to other individuals. What else? What other social bond would keep us sane or not to commit any social norm? Second is your commitment to follow rules, no? Commitment to follow rules. No? Here, of course, as a law-abiding citizen, you need to follow the law, no? Or the rules and regulations, no? So once your commitment is no longer there, the propensity for you to commit deviant behavior is also very high, according to this theory of social bond. Or once you withdraw, no, once you withdraw your relationships with these individuals that I talk about, your family, your friends, colleagues, Then there is also your propensity or your probability to commit deviant behavior. So what other social bonds? Again, now another would be involvement in typical social behaviors. No? Social behaviors. What are these? No, involvement in typical social. Well, usually, of course, for individuals, we go out with friends, no, for some parties or reunions or what we call meetings, no, or you attend conventions, etc. So these are very typical for an individual to do, no? These are, of course, necessity for us to interact with other human beings. Now, once you withdraw yourself, you do not attend already these typical social behaviors, well, the probability or the propensity for that individual to commit also what we call deviant behavior or deviance is high, no? So you withdraw. Remember that what we are talking here are the social bonds that will keep you still with your sanity. Once you withdraw already, then there is a probability that you create or commit what we call deviance. And then of course the last one, the last of the social bond or social bonds or what we call relationship will be your belief. No, your beliefs, your values, no, your attitudes, no, your motivations, etc. Now, if an individual does not have this anymore, according to this theory also, there is a probability or the probability is high that that individual will commit deviance. What is deviance again? Deviance will be a violation of social norm. I repeat, no? So what are those that will keep us sane or that will keep our sanity still so that we would still be, we will not be committing any deviant behavior? Well, we talk about what? Relationships, no? Our relationships with other people, no? We talk about commitment to follow rules, diba? Commitment to follow rules. And then, the third would be what we call involvement in typical social behaviors. Involvement in typical social behaviors. Right? And then, lastly, would be what we call our beliefs. Now, according to this theory, attitudes, motivations, or etc. No? According to this theory, these are the social bonds, no, yung that keep us alive and still sane, no. Once there is already a breakdown in any of this, you withdraw yourself from relationships anymore. You do not want to be going out. Involvement in typical social behaviors or beliefs. There is no more. You have no more beliefs or attitudes or motivations, and then you do not already follow rules. Well, of course, the probability that you will create deviance is very high, no, according to this theory. And then finally, the fourth sociological theory, which I will be discussing, is what we call the differential association theory, no? Developed by Edwin Sutherland in 1939, no? So the last one, sociological theory, is what we call the differential association theory. Who developed this? The differential association theory. The one who developed this was Edwin Sutherland. No, he was the one who developed Edwin H. Sutherland. No. And he developed this first in 1939. Then he revised it in 1947. So this one he revised it. There is a revision in 1947 of this particular sociological theory. And what does this say? What does this theory say? It says that with this word, differential association. What comes to your mind with this, no? Well, criminal behavior, according to this theory, criminal behavior is learned, no? Is learned according to this theory. Is learned. And how? How is criminal behavior learned? Well, of course, by associating yourself also with criminals, no? And how do you associate yourself? Well, you always go and associate yourself. Associate, meaning you interact with criminals. Associate, or you interact with criminals. In the long run, or in the process, no, you associate yourself with a criminal, you interact yourself with a criminal. This theory would say that if you do that, if you keep on doing that, well, in the process, you might also become a criminal. And that would, of course, when we talk about a criminal, he is a person who commits deviant behavior. Commits deviant behavior. Now, according to this theory also, the more frequent you associate yourself, or the more frequent you interact with a criminal, no, the faster. That's why this one, it is called actually as a learning theory. It's a learning theory, no? So, according to this theory, the frequency, no, if you often associate yourself or interact with yourself with a criminal, well, mapapabilis ang pagiging criminal mo rin. And also the time, the longer time you spend with a criminal, the duration, no, that you spend with him, and of course the intensity, no, how close can you be to a criminal. So here I repeat, no, it's a learning theory, this differential association theory, which says that if you associate or interact with a criminal very frequently, or at a longer time, or the duration is of course long also, and of course you are too close to a criminal, then you will learn, no? You will learn the actions, the motivations, the strategies, no? The techniques of being a criminal. So you avoid associating yourself, or else you might be learning this, no? The techniques, the actions, the motivations, the strategies, etc., etc. of a criminal. Okay? So I think I have discussed thoroughly the 4 sociological theories on deviance, and this is also a part of your examination this Friday. Again, I repeat, your preliminary examination in CVN, it will be the first subject that you will take it. It will be from 10 to 12 noon time, and then NSTP 1 will be from 1:30 p.m. to 3 p.m. 1.5 hours only. I think that is all. Good afternoon, everyone.